I have another serious question for you.
There's nothing serious in this world. It's a farce.
What have you been using this gun for?
I've used it for killing people.
Killing people?
It's a gun. That's what they're for. You want a moralist euphemism? Defending your family and your property. I haven't done that. I've used it to kill people.
Interesting. During or after the war?
There is no after the war. Class war is never over.
So he's continued killing after hostilities ended. Okay. Go in straight. No euphemisms. He doesn't like those. No. Be careful now. Slow and steady does it. Make him repeat it first. Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal.
So you're saying you killed people after active fighting stopped? Did you use that gun to shoot and kill a colonel of the security contractor Crenell? I know you want to tell me. Have you killed anyone with that gun in the last week or two? Wait, so which one do I say then? Let's go with the second option. Did you use that gun to shoot and kill a colonel of the security contractor Crenell?
Who now?
He leans in and cups his ear.
He heard you. He just wants to hear you say it again. This is dramatic flair on his part. Right choice. We're in. Do it, sire.
The corpse in ceramic armor hanging behind the whirling in rags. Did you shoot him? The fascist death squad who took a bullet in the mouth on the night of March 4th. His name was Ellis Crotonier. He was part of a security detail here in Martinez. A beautiful, strong man sent here by the Honorable Private Military Company. Renell. Let's go with the fascist death squad. Because I think that might play more to his... what he expects me to say.
Oh yes, that one. Ugly piece of work, that boy.
Did you kill him?
The lieutenant takes a sudden step towards him.
I am a son of a welder and an officer of the commune of Revachol. I do not collaborate with murderers and pederasts of the liberal regime.
Exhaust him with proof. Pile it all on him. Get a confession. The scent of blood in the air. But what else? There was something you can't remember.
I don't need your cooperation. I've got this. Show him the Rayong 446. We've done the ballistics. Point to the tower. The shot came from this island. You're a communist. I talked to the dead man. He told me communism killed him. Oh my god. Is that really gonna... is that gonna loop all the way around to the very first thing I heard in this game? Come on. What am I forgetting? Hit yourself on the side of the head. Let's do the ballistics. Let's say we've done the ballistics. Shot came from this island.
I saw you poking around there, looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to dead fascies. Did you like the view?
You had direct visibility. There are embrasures in the concrete, specifically meant for a top follower to use. And you had a long-range rifle in your possession.
The lieutenant softens his voice.
You have been here a long time, Mr. Dross. Too long. You need medical aid.
I'm ready to die. I've done my part.
He's practically admitting to it. Dead fascists for fascists. Done his part.
You said fascis. You're admitting you killed him. It's the best uninterrupted line of sight into that window in all of Martinez.
Because it's a sniper's nest, you stupid fuck. Radio Gosh is right. You have worms in your brain.
Another sudden twitch, and then one more. One in his right eye.
Almost. He almost burst out there. Keep piling arguments. Anything.
I don't need your cooperation. I've got this. Show him the Trigon.
Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, are there?
It's a real gun. Not like your little musketeer pistol. I've seen you prance around with that. Jumping hoops for the Liberals. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons? Going against automatic rifles with these toy guns. Of course you got those boys killed.
So we saw you. Okay. So what? Don't let it divert you.
We saved a lot of them. Alain, and that musician, we handled it. Stop changing the subject. We have the murder weapon.
You know what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it?
Dramatically ask. You think we have the murder weapon? No, let's go with, I'm calling it. We have the murder weapon.
Good.
The lieutenant takes out his notebook and draws a single line.
This feels good, doesn't it? Tearing things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the killer.
I think there's no other options. This guy has to be the killer.
Murder.
The old man does not say more. He just glances into the reeds and then twitches once more.
This pushed him, but not enough. Just a little more.
You're a communist. I talked to the dead man. He told me communism killed him. That does not seem like the right thing to say, but I'm gonna say it.
Stupid twat.
He scoffs.
The lieutenant looks at you with worry in his eyes. Not this, he seems to say. Anything but this.
Oh god. Yes, I held a seance with his soul. It has shown me the way, and the way leads to you. You fucked with the wrong police officer. I have paranatural abilities. It was intuition. Had he spoken, he would have said communism killed him.
Intuition is an aberrant psychologism. It reeks of crypto-fascism. The parasite class use intuition to justify their rank in life. It's all just palmistry and magic, Earl creatures. Your brain is rotting from the radio waves.
He looks at the air, then turns to the lieutenant.
He does not answer the provocation. It does not look like he thinks this approach worked.
It did not.
Yeah, this just did nothing. But still, somehow you knew it was a communist.
How?
Perhaps you suspected it before you took the case. The vision was you remembering that.
But this did nothing.
Was it supposed to?
I will look deeper then.
The inland sea is dark, vast, and on the surface, meaningless.
Let's turn back to him.
Standing there, slack-jawed, brain festering.
What am I forgetting? Hit yourself on the side of the head.
Wait, here it comes. The goddamn Maybells. The dried Maybells on Clausia's roof.
Oh, yes!
There were Maybells in the grass when you got here, and Maybells on Clausia's balcony. Wait, don't forget the footprints. The diagonal prints in the dust in the secret space behind Clausia's bedroom. Now, they're gonna come up.
Of course. Thank you, Head. Thank you.
You got it. Remember, the boot prints were like no modern soul.
I'm going to go with the boot prints. They seem a little bit more concrete than Maybell's. I wonder what brand of boots you're wearing.
Everything is brands with you individualists. Who cares what brand my shoes are? Sansa? Some shit.
Show me the soles, please, Mr. Duras.
Fucking imbecile.
The old man stretches out his leg. A black and white spiral pattern covers the sole of the worn-out old running shoes on his feet.
The maker is called Sensory. You see their V-shaped logo, but can't make out the size. These are not the unusual horizontal pattern soles you saw in the dust on the floor of the hidden room. They do, however, seem to be about the same size.
Oh,
The size fits, but not the sole.
drama? Wait, maybe it's simpler than that.
Sire, he doesn't have to be wearing them right now.
People change shoes. It doesn't mean you weren't there, near the room the victim died in, sneaking around.
Racking those brains, are you? Desperate to report something back to your masters? They must have really loved that dead fuck.
The lieutenant gives you a quick sideways glance and nods to acknowledge. The prints were his. You can see it in those eyes. He can't keep them from flickering, looking for something. The old man stares at his own prints in the ash around the fire. Silent suddenly, some strange process within him. A gush of wind. Seagulls in the distance. You've almost got him. Just the last little push.
Maybells, behind the victim's window. I saw them growing here. Point to them.
Damn Maybells. The whole island is turning white with them.
He seems tender suddenly, nostalgic even. A strange mood swing.
So many this year, too. The spring is coming. No, it's already here. Wash the filth away.
I haven't seen these flowers anywhere else in Martinaise. Only here.
They blossom on the islets before. We fertilized them with our blood. Resurrection was snow white in May, before they ruined it. The coast, too, before they piled their containers on top of it, filled with broken, useless trash for fat-fingered bourgeois children to play with.
You must get around a lot to stay undetected all these years. Do you know any secret paths? Pinball workshops?
I may.
A curious tremor passes his face. A young woman called Classe. Ring any bells? Flowers like these were behind her window.
Classier.
He knows her, but hadn't heard the name.
Yes, Classier. You hadn't heard her name, had you?
My ears don't reach the city.
You know her, right? She had intimate relations with the victim, the mercenary.
With the victim.
He turns his sight from the whitening field of flowers and falls silent. Then the muscles in his jaw twitch and spasm.
You know who he was. A coalition-trained murderer. Armored and armed. He wasn't human. The blunt end of a hammer. Dripping with blood.
He was a soldier too. He was a man.
Beating us to the ground. Moaning with joy. You hounds get so thorough when a company-trained killer dies. I haven't seen you on this coast for 40 years. You know, maybe I should have killed one sooner. Got your attention. Now you stop beating druggies and prostitutes in your basement. Now you come to investigate. Not when they die by the hundreds.
This is it. Shot him. Shot him. Say shot him, not killed him.
So you shot him.
Oh, the inhumanity. One paramilitary less in Revachol.
You can almost see him squeeze a tear out of his eye. His fists begin to tremble from the anger.
The lieutenant raises his right arm to hush you. Hush. He does not need to be pushed anymore. The ball is rolling.
It's not.
I had them in my sights. Both of them. Him and the whore. I was breathing with them. In phase. And I pulled the trigger and flew on the air until I landed in his mouth.
He begins to smile.
I didn't think I had a shot like that in me anymore. I did. I saw him kneel there with his mouth full of death. And that stupid look on his face. And his dick still in her.
Then what?
Nothing. I went to sleep. Next morning there were Maybells everywhere. The world was white. Or what's left of it anyway. My last spring here. I knew the fascists would come to avenge their own. And so they did.
Mr. Dross, are you aware you're confessing to murder?
The lieutenant asks after a second of silence.
Yes.
A single word is all he gives.
And you were looking at them, the victim and a young woman, having sex, through the scope of your rifle that night, before you shot him?
The lieutenant takes out his notebook slowly. Very slowly.
The old man nods.
Why?
Because that's what they were doing.
He shrugs and smacks his lips.
The motive. This is where the motive is going to come from. You can coax it out of him. The lieutenant's preparing the ground.
I don't understand. Do you, detective? I don't understand this part.
Why were you looking at them that night?
I'm always looking.
He cocks his head to the side and turns his eyes to the city. Another tremor passes his right side, lower in intensity.
Are you always looking through the scope of a rifle? I'm just trying to understand.
A rifle's scope has the best magnification.
And if you don't like it?
You pull the trigger.
Yes. Think of it as a form of critique.
You got him going. Connect every little piece now. Wrap this up like a gift.
What specifically did you not like about what you saw the night of the murder?
Them fucking. I didn't like that.
That you were jealous?
Jealousy is a reactionary concept. I didn't like the Reaver enjoying himself, drugged out, soothed in the arms of a young woman. I wanted him to die so he could not enjoy life anymore. And I wanted to see his head explode. That too. She should know better than to hold a child murderer between her thighs. I knew he'd be there for one more second, writhing. That's all it takes for the bullet to reach his head. Now that I think of it, I wasn't aiming for his mouth. I wanted his brains to spill out on her. But you can't have everything.
He wants to see her covered in blood. To punish her.
How long had you been watching her?
Since she came to Martinez. I saw her sneaking in the reeds early in the morning, behind the Fell building. It was dark, still winter. She didn't have her skimpy outfit on then, just a spot in the night, moving.
Past the Fell building on the coast? What was she doing there?
Hiding something in the water. She had a fag after she'd done it. I was up in the ruins there. She couldn't see me, but I could see her, smoking. She was nervous, but not scared.
What do you think she hid there?
Her passport and tickets to Villiers. And from there to Cachet Brut.
This is the hidden boy she told us about. You looked into it?
After she was gone,
He nods.
Did you keep the documents in it?
no, I put them back. Why would I take them? I'm not going to film. Oh, I mean,
Where was this submersible? Looks like the investigation missed it.
in the water. Behind the campsite there. I don't remember precisely. It was in the winter. It was cold out.
Moving on, did you continue watching her after this?
I did. She had a face like an archipelago with those birthmarks. And a body hard and lean and bruised all over. Black and yellow. I could see she's taken a beating. I could see who she was, too. A spook. On the run. Revachol's the cloaca of capital now. All the bagmen and arms dealers end up here to do drugs and have sex like animals.
You could tell she was a spook from the documents?
She had different color hair on the photo, and glasses. Forged. Some sordid bourgeois affair. I've heard about this kind of thing on the radio.
He's setting it up for you.
How did you see all this? The bruises, that she was beaten?
I'm not blind, am I?
He shakes his silver head. We could do reaction speed here. How does he know those minute details about her body? 58%, let's hope we pass.
It quickly comes to you.
Ever see her through a window on the roof?
Mm-hmm. Bending like a bow against the glass.
Have you been through the secret route behind the whirling in rags? Those were your footprints. You just changed your shoes.
I've been through all of Martinez. Every nook and cranny.
And that too.
Yes, that too. The things they did in that little room. What she'd do to feel good. Funny the way light works. You turn it on inside, and it gets so dark out, you can't see a man looking in. I learned that in the 20s, when they were still hunting me. I've seen people do some shit, but...
He keeps shaking his head.
Those two took the cake. You hear the familiar scribble of the lieutenant's pen. A quick glance at you. One more loose end down. We're doing this, detective.
How did you get in there? The hidden pinball workshop.
I can just walk in there now after a good wash. I told you, they think I'm an antisocial. Closing hour is a good time. The kitchen's empty.
You had to open the steel door in the kitchen? How?
I got that open a long time ago. Some bourgeois game merchant lived there. I don't know, 15 years ago. He left spare keys all over, and I took one. Then I saw her turn the light on one night in my scope.
He points towards the whirling in rags.
Andy found use for it. A spare key, like the one hanging behind the Union box window.
You wanted to punish her, so you killed him?
She practically breastfed that man. You wouldn't believe the things she let him do to her.
He shakes his head and stares at the ashes.
You stare at them too. In your mind, her innocence day still turns to leaf. Airport bag in hand, silks flowing in her wake.
The dream.
See you tomorrow, Harry. Her voice rings in the evening air. Burning.
Men are insane. Shake your head. I'm not like that. I don't think like that. Let's just say nothing.
The old man raises his gaze. Something glimmers in the corner of his black eye. A bitter taste on his tongue.
You had feelings for that woman.
There's nothing to hold on to. Only this. It's not enough.
The coals of his eyes glisten suddenly, like stones dripping with water. Is he crying?
Man needs to feel something else. In this fight, it helps if you have your eye on something there. It's weakness, I know.
There have been others.
Yes, over the years. It's not unproletarian to feel something.
Was that why you left the dried flowers behind her window?
No.
He starts to shake his head again. A sunflower on a withered stalk. Why then?
I don't really know. I was there one night and she was crying, like a child, in the corner of her room on the floor, like she does sometimes.
When was this?
The day after I killed him.
And you bought her Maybells?
Yes. I don't know why I do the things I do anymore.
You wanted to console her?
Maybe. I told you, I have holes in my brain now. I wouldn't just sit here waiting for you. If you came 10 years ago, I would have killed you.
He wipes his eye.
In the silence, the lieutenant draws a line in his notes, then nods at you once more. One more down.
So in conclusion, it wasn't about him. It was about her.
Her.
He repeats, staring at the ashes. Then the reeds. There's a twitch in the corner of his eye. Is this what they meant by love has done him in?
The lieutenant nods at you in acknowledgement. That's it. Motive. We have it.
Where is she, that Clasier? I haven't seen her there for days.
She got away. We don't know where she is. She got away, but she led us here first. She figured out someone was watching her from the seafort. We arrested her. I'm not at liberty to say. I'm going to say we don't know where she is.
Good for her. That girl kept staring into the scope, you know. In the end, this last week, kept staring at the island. At night, crying or smoking on the roof, like she knew I was here. It doesn't matter.
Across the water, on a dilapidated jetty in a nameless village, made of grey cinder block houses with Eternite roofs, 2 police officers and 1 special consultant look across a narrow strip of sea.
Who's the special consultant?
He's there, doing what exactly I don't know. Satellite Officer Vicmair points at the ruins. Behind that anti-aircraft something. That's why we can't see him. Special Consultant Heidelstein is optimistic. We'll see the boat when he comes. Let's go get a coffee until then. I know this interesting little place. Where? His voice trails off as the 3 walk down the jetty. As the men go, Patrol Officer Minnow looks back over her shoulder at the crumbling fortification in the rain, like a rotten tooth rising out of the water. Good luck, Harry, she thinks. You need something good for this.
We could get more. We've got him talking.
Who knows what he's seen and done over the years? You could get more out of him. He likes talking.
Been looking at anything else you liked?
A tragic comedy. Druggies, prostitutes, and rentiers.
More specifically?
Specifically, the whole city is a charnel house. Stripped clean and draped in neon. But Martinez is the worst.
How come?
Because of the racists. Everyone is a racist in Martinez. It's their favorite thing to do in the whole world. Listening to race-themed radio shows. In the ruins, in their lorries.
He points inland.
Pumped full of steroids and Radio Revachol 92. Race this, race that. It's all sanctioned by that Social Democratic Union and the farce of a Social Democrat who runs it.
Mr. Clare?
Yes, the fly larva in his container. He let some nihilistic advertising yuppies erect a statue of Philippe III, a syphilitic murderer, on the town square, to spit on the working class.
I'm going to let him finish.
Not since the serfs of ancient Pericarnassus has history produced a more inert social class than the Martinez proletariat. The rest of Revachol at least pretends to rebuild. These people still live in ruins. In tents, like animals, like those boom-boom morons on the ice. A pity they didn't drown in that tent of theirs.
Keeps shaking his head with sorrow for the sight he missed. Nod.
The worst of them is the blood-drenched Sucrion on her yacht, licking her lips. The old whore's gone now. Her gun-toting porcelain men are dead. So, actually, no. The worst is that old cock parading around in his uniform, throwing balls all day. It's not enough that the racists and liberals are dancing on our graves. The old loyalist ghouls still parade the ruins too. Every morning he's there, while the parasites he fought to protect are off in Ozon, or Quayamorang, or some other island they built their palaces on, feeding on drugs and having sex with their own children.
I say nothing.
That's all the rich really want. Sex with their own children. Throughout history, even the royal bloodline of the suzerain, it's all just an excuse for them to have sordid sex. At least that old cunt, Frisell, is now dead.
Just nod again.
We did good when we pushed him under that horse car. If only, in the 30s, those disco whores.
What follows is ominous mumbling. You cannot make out a single word.
There was something about a statue and nihilistic advertising agency people. Might be worth investigating.
Disco whores?
Whores.
is all he says. Even that word has to be pushed through his teeth with great force. The rage seethes too hard. There was something about the statue on the roundabout. And syphilis?
Syphilis is a disease Philip III contracted in a whorehouse. The statue is an abomination.
An abomination?
The bacteria entered his brain and made him squander trillions on sparkling wine, cocainum, and monuments of himself. His son, Philip IV, the insane, contracted syphilis in the womb.
He breathes in with a wheeze of hatred.
And he still went on to govern Revachol for 25 years. We lost 2 million lives toppling that mode of government. And those grotesque statues, too. Hundreds of them.
But it's still there.
What a keen remark. Yes, it is, isn't it? It's still there. Do you know why?
Because you forgot to take it down? Because the king is holy and his statues are indestructible? Because the king is holy and his statues are indestructible, but mean it ironically? Because cynical advertising yuppies erected a deconstructed version of it? Let's go with that one.
That's right. Some advertising cockroaches erected a cynical deconstruction of it. We tore it down with honest working-class plastic explosives. And there it is again.
He shakes his head in disgust.
Art is a bourgeois establishment. It's an affront to humanity. Every gallery should be bulldozed, and the artists should all be given 30 years of hard labor in Yekokata.
You mentioned the Union is social democratic, and Mr. Clare a farce of a social democrat.
Another hideous disappointment. Unions are the real enemy. The true enemy of the proletariat. Placating the masses.
Disappointment. So personal. He displays a familiarity with the Union's top brass.
Who's a disappointment? Everard Clare?
That deformed toad? I wouldn't expect him to wipe his own ass. I mean, the brains of the operation. The smart one.
Doesn't Everett run the Union?
That mobster toad couldn't run a shithouse. He has no political education. His twin, Edgar Clare, that one's been to one of those East Revachol universities. He talks a big game about uprising and alienation and so on.
You've talked to Edgar?
First against the wall with him.
He stopped poking at the ash now. Just shakes his head.
The Clares wouldn't miss a man hidden in their own backyard. Not all this time. Nothing happens in Martinez without them knowing.
Of course. Maybe the Clears asked him to. Don't go straight for the kill. Exhaust everything else first. Soften him up.
Have you approached them?
I haven't approached anyone. I hid. It was Edgar who came to me.
How did he know you were here?
He didn't just stumble in like an oaf. He figured it out. Some kids told him about a monster on the island. I told you, he has brains.
He points to the path leading to the tower.
Stepped right off the boat and walked down where you came. I even kept the door open for him. Thought he was a man of the left, wouldn't rat me out. I was right about one of those things.
When was this?
20 years ago. Neither of them could walk now, could they? They were less fat then.
That's around the time the Clears came to power.
What did you talk about?
Edgar did the talking. Paid his respects like I were a fossil in a uniform. Offered platitudes about the struggle. Flaunted his pink degree. Even quoted Marzoff. Never trust a social democrat who quotes Marzoff. Oh, and charity too. They love their charity. Offered me blankets and social housing. I still have the gas cooker he brought.
And he let you be here?
Let me be here? The ZOC is an unlawful successor of the Commune of Revachol. We took this fortification from the Loyalists. Even the Clares understand this.
They let him be here. Understanding was a courtesy. But why such a courtesy?
Mr. Dross, did you kill the Colonel mercenary for the Clares to incite a riot?
You know why I killed that fucker, Dwat. As to Edgar, I'm not doing anything for that swine again.
Again? What have you done for Edgar before?
Tried teaching him some Marzovian socioeconomics. They didn't stick. We parted ways.
Okay, he didn't do the hanged man for them, but he's insinuating something.
By the cock parading in his colourful uniform, you mean Renee?
Every fucking morning for 34 years. Throwing that ball. One ball against the other. I've always loathed that game. That is not a working class game. I don't care what they say on Radio June. Royalist ghouls played like it was life itself. Click, clack across the water each day. And that uniform, like a parrot plumage. I won't even mention that he's a traitor to his race. A Patank maniac race traitor.
It's just not.
I remember him. I remember him from La Noce. Not him, personally. His make and model. There were tens of thousands of them. I thought we took them all out before the Liberals came to their rescue. We missed one. That one.
With his shaky finger, he points to the city, toward the crater near the plaza, where a lonely pine tree stands.
Fat and plump, like a pheasant, just begging to be popped off. Please, Mr. Dross, shoot me.
You'd like to kill him?
Not yet. I like to look at him strut around, place the crosshair on his medals, right on his face, and just fiddle the trigger. Think about it. Let the bomb melt in my mouth.
Save the treat for later?
The lieutenant asks cheerfully.
He is a juicy bonbon, that one. A real treat for the black day. The blackest. When I put that gun in my own mouth, I think, no, don't waste it. Put this lead in that cock, Renee. For the boys he killed. And then I look at him throw those balls, and I suddenly feel
He lets out a wistful sigh.
better. I even hid one bullet, so I'd always have one for him. Haven't seen him there lately. Must be down with arthritis. Old cunt.
Momentarily, he's worried for him. He reminds him of himself. The same hatred. The same. You try to think of another thing, but no. It's just the hatred. They are veterans of the same war. Somewhere west in Coal City, his enemy is lying in a dark room on a metal slider, not breathing, like he will too, soon. Half of the war between these men is over.
Wait, Renee died? Oh.
With an agitated gait, Satellite Officer Jean Heron Vichmer paces the jetty, 22 kilometers east in Martinez. What could he possibly be doing there for so long, he says.
Oh, I think they're talking about the mercenary man. Because it's Esprit de Corps.
Police work? Patrol Officer Judith Minot replies, with a tinge of hope in her voice. A tinge of warmth, too, against the cold air rising from the water. He's drunk, she thinks, and we all know it. Still, she's just trying to see it in a generous light.
Let's see if we can pass this logic check. What was the deal between him and Edgar?
The connection comes to you like a splash of cold water. Dark, cold water.
20 years ago, when you met Edgar, the Clares didn't run the Union yet, did they? A sputter from the old man.
He acknowledges it. Here we go. A twist behind the dark bend.
Who did?
That bourgeois cow. Tiffin Holly was her name. Licked the rich man's hand every time he came to town. Never seen a labor leader so hot on mutual cooperation. And money. She liked that too. That Holly was a real bridge builder and a deal maker.
And then she just disappeared.
Called in, they say, on the eve of battle. Ran away. Vanished like a piss stain.
He squints and smiles at the black logs.
No, that's not quite it, is it?
Did she? They say her daughter called in, not her personally. But that wasn't really her daughter, was it?
No, I guess it was not.
You could swear you see the embers glow again under his eyes on the dust. Edgar had someone make the call. Why is that, Mr. Dross?
She couldn't make the call herself.
Here it is, the bend in the river.
Why?
Because she was dead.
Just say nothing.
The cow caught a bullet in her right lung. Fell into the canal grasping her tit and drowned. Or bled? Hard to say. It was a sloppy job. And a moving target. She was going home, waddling, dressed in yellow, drunk like she often was. The ruins were black around her, and she had a yellow leather bag under her arm. She tried to cross the canal, heading home to Grand Couronne or Betancourt, someplace like that, where they build those new bâtiments for the people who flourish in the hell around her, and the ruins.
You shot her?
Someone shot her. Or maybe the cow just fell. My memory is full of holes. All I know is nothing changed. Not in the material base, not in the hegemony. There was no uprising. Just words. The Union fizzled, sogged. Nothing came of it. Nothing.
Edgar didn't keep his part of the deal.
A sputter again. Nothing more.
If you were to testify to this, give the RCM something on Edgar, you could walk.
The lieutenant says in a voice even calmer, as if it were nothing at all.
We would strike everything you've done and process you as a POW. You were in a war. You were on assignment. We could even extradite you to the Samaran People's Republic.
A degenerate worker state. Go shit. No, thank you. I'm Revacholian. My days are short. I will rot away here, in a moral intern cell. I will not testify to anything.
But you did do it.
I saw it happen, and I liked it. That's all I have to say. I didn't live and fight for 40 years to end up as a collaborationist. I've heard it on Channel 8, 40 AM, Radio Revachol, late night. Everyone is a blobber in this world. Everyone betrays everyone. They're all already locked up for betrayal. The best ones, the ones with heart, were slaughtered, trampled.
He looks to the city.
The same old freezing hatred. There is plenty here to work with once he's in custody, and the lieutenant knows it. He gives you a little nod to proceed.
I'm glad we talked about this. Now,
Glad. It's all gone.
I am going to click this just to see if we can pass it. Assess his body language.
For a 60-year-old man with stomach trouble, who spent his entire life alone on an uninhabited island, he seems surprisingly fit.
That's it?
He's prone to erratic hand gestures and clearly malnourished. But that's it. You can see no more by looking at his slouched frame. The moment passes, and you say,
Josef Linovich Dross, you're under arrest for the murder of Ellis Courtenier.
What? But you said I would be taken to the...
Your Wayfarer rights have been suspended. Information provided to the officers on the scene will be used against you by the prosecution. You will be given legal counsel within 1 week and must face court in 44 days. Do you understand? Do you understand?
But...
Do you understand, sir?
No, I don't want to. I have to stay here.
He looks at the reeds, eyes submerged in growing terror.
He's sweating. Beads are forming on his forehead.
Your confirmation is not required, sir. Now on to the boat.
Perception hearing 17%. Let's see. Wait.
You thought you heard something, but it's just the reeds.
Oh god, what's gonna happen?
Maybe we could all fit in there.
Does it have room for 3?
Not really. We could escort him to the pier, then either one of us can take him inland while the other stays here. But
then, who watches him while you're coming back here?
Who watches him there while I come back for you?
you come back for me. How about I go and send a boat back for you?
That seems fair.
What is this farce? This is a fucking farce. I can't.
Lillian, you could ask her maybe.
Maybe I can just ask that net picker to watch him?
This is no harmless old man.
The lieutenant shakes his head. Well, she could come back and pick me up in her boat, right?
This fucking world. This world. What is this?
No, listen. Listen now.
What's happening? You could come back for me once you've taken him to the precinct. What is this you and I thing? I'm not a fan. I could come back for you once I've taken him to the precinct.
Okay, how about I take him to the precinct and you wait on the island?
I'll do it. Let's not get into this.
This world. What are you talking about? Is this us?
His voice drowns out in a sudden gush of wind.
Your skin is crawling suddenly.
Uh-oh. Run. Wait. You cannot be serious. Is that the bloody Phasmid? Oh, come on.
A delicate tangle of arms and legs unfolds from the reeds, limb by limb, to then just stand there, moving its scythe-like arms in ghostly silence.
Oh my god, this episode is going so long. Okay. Link?
It's still there, an unfolding mechanism of reed-like chitin, hovering in place.
What is that?
What are you talking about?
The giant stick insect.
There's nothing there.
He looks confused.
The stick insect is over 3 meters tall. It looks straight at you, with its tiny pinprick eyes and its grotesquely small head.
I finally got insane. Put your head in your hands now. There is. I see it.
Tell me what you see, damn it. I can't make out one small thing in the reeds.
Tim, can you see it?
I can see it.
4 simple words, thank God. If he can see, then you're not insane. But that means it's really there, spinning slowly, in absolute silence, its limbs long and slender.
Be very, very careful.
The lieutenant whispers, then takes a step towards the giant arthropod.
It's clear you like the hard stuff, Brota.
Wait, what? Now is not the time. It sounds like my stomach is growling.
Evening falls. The time has come to take the vow.
Vows?
The vows are blood and flesh.
What is my lower intestines going on
Lower
about?
intestine. The term is metabolic and circulatory system.
Okay, but what's the hard stuff?
Fascism, Brota.
What? What is fascism, though?
Many things, but it's mostly about trusting your gut. Who does your gut tell you is the source of Revachel's problems?
I thought you were my circulatory system.
Quit stalling, Bruta. We're talking about the weakest, worst, most insane thing. The weak link.
I have absolutely no idea. Foreigners, financiers, leftist, academicians, or liberals? Damn those leftists!
Yes, them. But also, women.
Women?
Women. Men of war. You don't like them. They're insane. Their idiocy needs to be scrubbed off this
Oh,
world.
get outta
like
here.
alcohol. Wu men need to go back to the fucking kitchen. That's what fascism boils down to. The rest is also important. But the main thing is that Wu men need to know their place.
Am I having some kind of stomach seizure?
Stomach truth. You're having a stomach truth.
Why am I getting this?
Because you've said the hard things that others won't say. The good things,
Have I?
you've said them many times.
Have I gone from moralist to fascist? Because I'm not sure how I feel about this. Fascism sounds so bad, though. What if we called it something else, like traditionalism? Nah, fuck this. I've made up my mind.
You're going to keep your views, right? Keep your views, Brota.
Absolutely not. I am not going to be played by an upset stomach.
There's a slow, painful growl somewhere in your intestines, knocking on your alcohol-engorged liver. It is one of betrayal and disappointment.
Out of here. Right. I think before I speak to the Insulindian Phasmid, I'm going to end this episode here because I don't know how much more of the game is left. So thank you all very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, let me know what you think. Your comments are greatly appreciated. And as always, I'll see you next time.